Today we're going to make some plant-based Louisiana red beans and rice. This is everything we're going to need to get started. I'm going to start off with onions, bell pepper. We have our celery and garlic. And we also have green onions. We're going to use both the tops and the green part of those. And then we have some onion powder, garlic powder, thyme, and all of the measurements are going to be below. Sage, smoked paprika, cayenne powder, Italian seasoning, Tony's Chachere's light. I use the light because it has less sodium. Have a pound of kidney beans. These have been soaked and rinsed very, very well. Have 2 quarts of vegetable stock, 2 tablespoons of Louisiana hot sauce, and 2 big bay leaves. If your bay leaves are small, then you'll probably want to use 3. Along with these ingredients, I've already cooked 2 cups of rice in the Instant Pot. Now here's the first step to making my Louisiana red beans and rice. Sometimes I soak my beans for about 3 to 4 hours, but I do a quick soak sometime too. So as you can see, the water's boiling. Now I'm going to turn the fire completely off. All right, so I've got boiling water. I'm going to take my 1 pound of beans, pour them in there. I've already picked them and rinsed them off. Stir them around just a little bit in there. And then I'm going to put the top on it. And I'm going to let those beans soak between 30 minutes and an hour. It doesn't matter. And then I'll be back. Now let's make the rice while the beans are soaking. So I have already rinsed my rice really, really well. This is 2 cups. And then I tap it to make sure all the rice gets in there. And I have 2.5 cups of water. And then 1/2 cup of salt, that is optional. I stir that around and make sure that every little bitty piece of rice is covered. You don't need any little bitty pieces hanging onto the edges because they'll become really, really hard. And then I'm going to put the top on it. Hear that noise? Okay. And then up at the top, I'm going to show you the little valve. You need to make sure that that is in the steaming mode. Now here's the valve right here. You need to make sure that it's on sealed before you turn it on. You don't want it over here or you don't want it over there. You want it straight up and down. And different models of Instant Pots will have different seals. So make sure that you're aware that it needs to be sealed once you start this. And right here, I'm going to go to manual, and it's already on 21 because that's what I usually cook my rice in here. So whatever the last one was, it'll stay there. If you need to change it, use the up or down button, but I'm going to keep it on 21. And now it's turned on. It's going to take a little while for the pressure to build up, but that is pretty much it. It's going to cook for its 21 minutes after the pressure builds, and then I'll tell you what to do at the end. Now it's counted down to a little bit less than a minute left. And then after this minute, it's going to go into the mode where it will begin to naturally release. So what we're going to do, once you'll see it flip, it's going to flip in just about 30 more seconds. We're just going to leave it. I'm going to leave it for anywhere between 8 and 10 minutes. And that'll allow it to fluff a little bit on the inside. I won't be freezing this rice, so I'm not going to do a quick release. I'll do a natural release. See how it just flipped? And so now it's about to start warming it a little bit, and that the pressure is going to start coming down. When I freeze my rice, I usually do a quick release where I put a towel at the top of it, turn the valve, and just let it release quickly. then I lay it out on a board so that it can cool. Then I get it inside my containers and put it in the freezer. That way it's not really well done, because I'm going to be heating those things up that I'll be putting in my freezer. But because this is going in my refrigerator, I am going to do a natural release of about between 8 and 10 minutes. And then it'll just be ready to serve. It just flipped to 8 minutes. It's been on natural release for 8 minutes. This is where I like to take mine off because I like my rice a little bit more firm. So right here at the top, you see if you can see that. Here at the top, what I'm gonna do is just flip it over and get the rest of the release out of there. Good. And that's gonna take probably about another, I'd say 3 to 4 minutes. And then from there we can open the top. The thing about the Instant Pot is you will not be able to open the top at all until all of the release is gone. And so I usually stop mine around 8. Some people with their Instant Pot, they just let it go until it's completely naturally released, and that's completely up to you. Okay, it's been about a minute since all of the steam went away, and it looks like the pressure has been released. So let's open it up. Hear that noise? It lets me do it. And here we are. And so then I take and I fluff the rice like that. And like I said, if you'd like yours a little bit more well done, you could have completely natural released it until it was ready, until you were ready for it. And then here is our rice. All right, I like to use a large, wide bottom pot to cook my beans in. And that way it has a really nice surface area. I already have my pot nice and hot. Put that on a medium fire, and we're gonna start with the onions. Bell pepper and celery. All right, and then continuously stir that around. Right now it's on a medium-low fire, a medium-low. Now I've been sauteing this for about 10 minutes. And the onions are finally starting to get a bit translucent. Now I'm gonna add in the garlic. I only saute the garlic for about a minute when I'm dry sauteing before I put a little bit of liquid in here. We do not want the garlic to burn. Okay. I'm gonna pour in about maybe a half a cup to 3/4 of a cup of stock. Before I add in the herbs and spices. See, that released everything from the bottom of this pot. And now I'm gonna add in the herbs and spices. I'll put a little bit more stock in there so we can have a nice little simmer before adding the beans. Okay, you see we have a nice simmer going now. When it starts to simmer, then I add my beans. And I like to get all of the seasoning touching every single one of the beans. So I'm mixing this together now. Okay, I'm gonna spread that out until I see a little simmer starting to happen again. Okay, you see that it's starting to agitate underneath the beans now. I like to let this do exactly what it's doing for about 3 minutes. And that way a lot of the seasoning will actually touch the beans and it'll give it a lot more flavor. And now I'm gonna stir that around some more. And it's time now to add the stock. I'm going to turn the fire up on high. And give that a good stir. Now, as you can see, it's coming to a low boil. This is when I'm going to put in my green onions, hot sauce, and my bay leaves. Stir that around. And now it is ready to be put on low. And I'm going to put the top on it. Make sure to check on it, I'd say about every 15 or 20 minutes. If the liquid evaporates, then just add some water as needed. I'll be back in a couple of hours. It's been going now for about an hour and 40 minutes, and this is what it's going to look like. You notice how the gravy is starting to thicken up just a little bit? This lets me know that we're probably about 20 to 30 minutes away from it being done. This is a great time to taste it too, to see if you need to add any more seasonings and so on. So the 2 quarts of vegetable broth was perfect. I did not have to add any more liquid. And before I put the top on it, I'm going to take my little masher and I'm just going to go on and press a few of the beans. Sometimes when I make beans, I put like a cup of it in the blender. But for my red beans, I just want a few of them mashed, because the way I make the red beans, especially with soaking them before, it already has a very, very nice thick gravy. And when you mash the beans a little bit, it helps the gravy to get a little bit thicker. Ooh, look at that. Probably about 20 or 30 minutes more, and then we will be finished. This took almost exactly 2 hours. And this is what we have. Louisiana red beans. Look at the consistency of them. And this pairs exceptionally well with the rice. You're going to find your bay leaves in there. Make sure that you take them out before you begin serving. And this is all plant-based Louisiana red beans and rice. Enjoy.